Hello, CQ. Hello, CQ. CQ, the Old Friends Net. Time for the Tuesday edition of the Old Friends Get Together. This is W4MEC, Charlie in Henderson County, North Carolina. Calling the net today, and the Old Friends Net meets 3 times a week. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 a.m. on 3715, Sundays at 6 p.m. on 3715. Net is carried out in the Amplitude Modulation mode only. And it's also the old-fashioned roundtable format where we take check-ins and get everybody seated at the table, and we go around from there. This is a great place to sell gear or buy something if you're looking for it, if it's out there, or get some information or a bit or piece to fix something. So I'll take check-ins now, and we'll get started. So those wishing to participate, please give W4MEC a call. Come now.
N4LQ. WB4ARK.
WB4NKM. WA4EVK.
Okay, short crew today. Steve, N4LQ is first. K4GDN George is next. WB4 ARK Buddy. WB4NKM Larry. A4EVK Boone. Any further check-ins for round one? Sleepyheads out there. Anyways, W4MEC and the Old Friends. Good morning, fellas. It's a blistering 62 degrees outside and overcast. And I haven't looked at the weather. I knew there was a bunch of stuff out west that was tearing that up heading this way, but I don't know if this is it or not. Anyway, my car issue really did turn out to be the battery. I swapped it out with the one from our old car, which is a newer battery, and that is, anybody need a car? It's a giveaway. Let's see, and it was in good shape, and she hadn't any problems since, and I haven't looked at this one yet to see if it's okay and whether to start this car, but I got a 95 Nissan, about 160-something thousand on it. Actually, it's got less than that because the motor is relatively new, and apparently it has a water and oil leak that I'm still looking for, and I can't figure out where it's coming from. So, but probably just give it away to the scrapper and get $200 for it and get it out of here. I got to do something this month because the tag's up, so that means I got to get it inspected and get it driving and go get it inspected. So, you know, I might just say, come get this piece of junk. We'll see. Any mechanics out there want a free car, you can have it. So let's get started. N4LQ in the group, W4MEC.
W4MEC, N4LQ. Well, maybe you can just tow it over to the junkyard and sell it for scrap. I don't know what they're giving for cars. I remember I had a 78 Ford LTD and took it in. They gave me $200 for it, and that was back in the 80s. So there's an opportunity. Anyway, it's 63 degrees and kind of gloomy looking outside here in Shelby, and I'm running the AF-68, driving the AL-1200 and the horizontal loop antenna and the CalRad crystal microphone. So George, how you doing over there? K4GDN, N4LQ.
N4LQ in the group, K4GDN. I'm doing pretty good, I think. And I am running the AF-67 and the CMR-7. I'm using the homebrew 811 linear. And looks like I'm putting out about 250 watts of carrier. and I'm sitting here watching the tubes, and the 811s look fine. So it's kind of cloudy here in Myrtle Beach, but the sun is out, and it's in the, I guess in the low 60s when I came out here this morning. So with that, I'll pass it on to Buddy. WB4ARK in the group, K4GDN.
K4GDN, WB4ARK. Well, George, for your power output, your signal level here is rather low. Everybody else seems to be pretty good with their signal level. I'm hearing some static crashes on the on this frequency. It's not too bad. It's sporadic. Makes me think that there's something brewing out there. So we'll keep an eye on the weather for this afternoon. We got a nice day today coming up. Looks like we got full sunshine right now, and I think yesterday was well, it was kind of off and on full sunshine, but I guess that's about it for right now. So we'll send it over to WB4MKM. This is WB4ARK.
Okay, buddy, WB4ARK from WB4NKM. Well, good morning to everybody. Good to be in here this morning. This is Larry, and I'm located in Wise, Virginia, running a Johnson Ranger, a Maritron 811 amplifier, and the antenna is a end-fed half-wave, receiving on a Hammerman HQ170A. Charlie, I'm glad you got your battery issue fixed. Thought about that. I think when I heard you talking about it, it was drawing almost an amp, 750 mils or something, and which didn't make a lot of sense unless there was some kind of a short. I guess that's the one you're talking about. I'm glad you got that squared away. It's 57 degrees here, and we got light rain. The static is not too bad. I hear a crash every once in a while, and hopefully that will move across us, and I guess it's moving slow, but maybe that'll move across and get out of here. Leave us with some more pretty weather for the rest of the week. George, if you copy down there on the beach, your AF-68 is getting into Southwest Virginia. S6 this morning on the receiver. 250 watts, I believe you said, is working for you down there. So over to you, Boone. WA4EVK, WB4NKM. Thank you, Larry. WB4NKM in the net, WA4EVK. Well, you know how it is when you read the weather forecast and plan some antenna work, it's sure to rain. So, there you go. Not much else to say about that. I'm going to have to redo what I was going to work on today. I guarantee you I can find something around this shack. That's about it for me. And back up to Charlie. Charlie, by the way, is tonight your other meeting, W4MEC to take it, WA4EVK.
Okay, WA4EVK and the old friend, W4MEC. Real good, fellas. Let me stand by. Do we have any others that would like to join us? Yeah, second, give me a call, W4MEC. I guess Sunday was too much for him, so anyway, let's see. Darn plate meter on this TX1 is, oh boy, it was off about 50 milliamps because it was dirty. There, that's better. Okay. Let's see, comments. Yeah, tonight I will be here. Matter of fact, I won't be missing the net till June because our annual meeting and our monthly meeting, we combine this month, in May rather, to the 16th, the Thursday. So I'll be able to hit every Tuesday, and the only issue is remembering and being awake. So last week, believe it or not, I forgot, even though I told you I would remember. If I could kind of get a 24-hour timer. I got a timer that only does an hour, so make me a timer that I can, when I close the net, set it for 8 hours or something. But anyway, I'll do my best to be there. Wayne, WA4FTY, sent me an email. Apparently he has fallen and broken his hip, and his wife has been taking care of him. And I'm not sure if you fellas have his email, but he doesn't send to the old friends a link there. I don't think he's if he's been invited, he hadn't responded to it, but he says he's doing all right with his wife caring for him, so hopefully he'll get back on track here. He was motoring around in an electric wheelchair, so I'm not exactly sure how he broke his hip, unless he fell out of bed or something. He didn't go into the details of it. So anyway, let's see what else. I just looked at the weather, and I'm right on the edge of a storm. It'll probably be here within 30 minutes. And Alabama is being hammered with lightning right now. I'm hearing static crashes. And I looked at the lightning and tracker there, and it's being zapped pretty good. And I don't know if it'll come this way. It's kind of going north by northeast, the storm is, kind of sliding to the north-northeast. I don't know if it'll keep going over to you, buddy, but it's almost here. So, and just when I haven't cut my yard, officially cut it, but I had my mower set too high, because you kind of use it as a bush hog, and I said, I'm too lazy. I'll just knock all those weeds down with this mower. So I haven't cut it. I had planned to cut today and run my bush hog mower through the ivy farm. I've got a massive quantity of English ivy, and I pull it out from under all those eggs and things like that. That's the only way to get rid of it. And this year I'm gonna bush hog it every time I cut the grass with my bush hog mower, which is nothing more than an ancient Tecumseh motor, push mower. Raise it up to the max it'll go, so I can push it through that leaves and fine straw and whack those darn English ivy down. And Oregon doesn't allow the importation of anything with English ivy. They consider it quite the invasive species, and to tell you the truth, it does invade. Anyway, N4LQ in the group, W4MEC.
Yeah, that English ivy is bad stuff. N4LQ, and I fight it here. Somebody decided they needed it, I guess, on these hills. And it's good to stop erosion. It's good for stopping erosion, but once it starts, there's no stopping it. And last year, I decided to try to eradicate it from the azaleas that lined the driveway. They were taking over the azaleas. I sprayed the ivy very carefully on the leaves, but now the azaleas are suffering, and they're in bad shape this spring. I don't know if they're going to make it or not. They had some blooms, and the leaves are trying to come out. Some of them look kind of dead, so that Roundup apparently came in through the ivy leaves and into the roots of the azaleas. Hopefully they will recover eventually. Well, too bad about Wayne and breaking his hip. I can imagine that's no fun at all. And I am looking for an ARRL license manual from the 1960s. I need that to help make a presentation I'm working on. So if anybody has one, that's the exam, the practice license manual that the league put out from back in the old days. If anybody's got one, let me know, or bring it with you to the Old Friends Luncheon this Thursday in Spartanburg. With that, I will turn it over to George again. K4GDN N4LQ.
4LQ in the group, K4GDN. And man does seem to be a little strange this morning. There's some slow, deep QSB on it. And I got about 15% of Charlie, about the same of Larry. Everybody else I'm copying fairly well. And Steve, I have a 58 license manual, which is a version I used when I studied for my novice exam in 1959. Well, it was 58 actually. Before I started the 8th grade, a couple before I went to the 8th grade. And if I can redo anything, I won't be there Thursday. And speaking of the luncheon, looking ahead, the July meeting, the 4th of July is on the first Thursday. Any thoughts on moving that meeting a week later or anything like that? I know I won't be able to make it on the 4th, but I could make it next week. Anyway, let's see. With that, I'll pass it on to Buddy. WB4ARK in the group, K4GDN.
K4GDN, WB4ARK. Okay, George, your signal's a good bit better this time. Still got some sporadic static crashes in the background. I guess, Charlie, some of those, or one of those storms is probably headed this way. Might make it over the mountain area and into our area this afternoon. Well, we don't have a whole lot going on here. I got a good bit done yesterday. Been having problems with the irrigation system. I'm picking up a lot of silt and it's clogging up the filter, so I have to clean the filter about every time it makes one trip around from the front to the back, and then starts over again about 4 or 5 hours later. Or 6 hours later. By that time I've got to clean it out, or it won't get a distance of more than about 4 feet, if that. So we gotta get something done about that. Let's see what else we got here. I think that's about it. I might have a 60s manual. If a 58 manual will not do the job, or you need it by, say, Thursday, to bring it Thursday. But I do have a couple of old manuals, and I guess you're talking about the ARRL manual only. So with that, over to WB4MKM. This is WB4ARK.
Yeah, WB4ARK from WB4NKM. Okay, buddy. Everybody's got good signal here, and George, you came up on that last transmission here also. Okay, on the mowing, I'm glad I made that choice yesterday. I didn't look at the forecast. I just got out there and I had to change the oil and the filter and the lawnmower first. I got that done and jumped on the mower and started mowing, and I got it done. So, and then I come in and heard the forecast, and I'm glad I went ahead and started mowing because it's getting real wet out there today. I live up here on it's kind of hilly, and there's parts of my yard that grows higher than the other. So I managed to mow the lowest laying the ground first because that's where the grass is the tallest. And last week I mowed it with the deck raised up, Charlie, like you did, and this week I had to go back and cut that back down. Usually I get by with maybe a week and a half of without mowing. But it's taken off pretty good this year, seems like. Okay, on the information on Lane, sorry to hear about that. Cliff gave me a DX60 back when I first started getting on AM, and I went through it. It had WA4 FTY on the front of it with one of those label makers. So I guess that might have been his first novice rig. I need to talk to Wayne, and I'd like to hear him on, talk to him about that DX60. I've got it sitting here on the bench. Need to hook it up, run it a while. So down to you, Boone. I hope you can just make a few plans while it's raining on that antenna work. Maybe you need to make some plans about what you might want to change or something. WA4EVK, WB4NKM.
WB4NKM and then WA4EVK. I think my problem is just basic inattention to the weather, or reading it, looking at it, you know, way too many hours ahead of time and thinking it's going to stay that way. My brother's a meteorologist. He says that any prediction over a 24 to 36 hours is just a wild guess. Since I call him the weather liar, we won't go there. By the way, I'm running a AF-68 into a Swan Mark 1 amp, MN 2700 Drake tuner into a in-fit half-wave cut for 160 in Pickens, South Carolina. Not much else. I'm just kind of having to, I think I'll try it though, Larry. Something that if I go contrary to it, it'll work out great. I think I'll try that next time around, because I sure had all day planned dealing with some checking connections and trimming back trees a little bit and everything to do with the typical antenna stuff. Oh, and I'm putting together a rotor cable protector. I'm using those MOVs as MOVs. If anybody's got any better way of doing it, I'd like to hear about it. Right now I'm just putting one MOV on each rotor line, and hopefully that'll keep the lightning surges down. And with that, I'm going to send it back to Charlie. W4MEC to take it, WA4EVK.
Okie dokie, WA4EVK and the old friends, W4MEC. Do we have any others that would like to join us? Give me a call. WB4NKL. Okay, we got Cliff. Anybody else? Cliff, you'll follow Boone on the next go-around. Go ahead and make a transmission and turn it over to me when you're done. WB4NKL, W4MEC.
W4MEC, WB4NKL. Hey, Charlie. Everybody's sounding good now, but when you started the net, I could not copy a single signal. It was the rain was getting ready to start, and looked over here on the Drake 2A. The meter was setting on 40 dB over S9. Just noise. I couldn't copy anybody, and then all of a sudden, about 15 minutes into the net, it had started raining, and it just dropped out and could copy everybody. So unusual conditions. I thought it was just static buildup on the antenna. I went around and grounded the antenna, and it didn't change a thing. It still had the 40 dB of noise, whining type noise. like something coming from a storm. It did come a pretty good downpour here after that, and it's raining now, so glad to see it. We were getting a little short on rain here, so I hope it rains all day. W4MEC, WB4NKF.
Okay, Cliff, very good. WB4NKL, W4MEC, and let me stand by one more time for late check-ins. Come now.
KZ4 Bravo breaking.
Okay, we got John, KZ4B. John, if you're going to stay with us, you'll be after Cliff, WB4NKL, on the next go-around, and then turn it back to me. Go ahead and make a transmission. KZ4 Bravo, W4MEC.
Okay, W4MEC in the group KZ4B. I'm about to oversleep today. I had stayed up late last night watching TV, and so I was sleeping late. So I'm not going to string it out. I don't know who's in here. Handles John, east side of Lake Norman, and using the T150. Driving the Ameritron AL-1500, receiving on the Palstar PR-30 receiver, and the antenna's a dipole up about 75, inverted V dipole up about 75 feet at the apex. So, back to, I guess, Charlie, you must have called Lynette, so back to you. W4MEC in the group, KZ4B, over.
He's done there, Charlie.
I got a phone call. I'm on the phone here. Yeah, let's see. Go ahead and, John, let's see. Steve, go ahead and pick it up. N4LQ. I'll be back. W4MEC.
Yeah, okay, no problem. W4MEC in the group N4LQ. Well, I'll bring this up again since there's been 2 additions to the net this morning, looking for the ARRL license manual, the study guide that the league put out back in the 60s or even the 50s, and I think George, you got kind of hard to copy there. I think you said you had a 58 and you were going to bring it to the luncheon, or are you coming to the luncheon? I didn't quite hear that. And then you you had a question about the July 4th meeting and changing the time or something there, and I don't know, I couldn't understand all of that, so you might repeat that when you get it there. So and Boone, fine on the MOVs that you put on your rotor cable. I don't know if they'll do any good or not. If you get a big surge, it's a question of which will go first, the rotor or the MOVs, I guess. And Cliff, I was surprised you said you heard all this precipitation static, but you said you unhooked the antenna and you still heard it? Well, that sounds a little suspicious. That's quite an amazing thing if you unhook the antenna and still heard that static. But we'll take it for what it's worth. Let's see, Charlie, see if he's back, and if not, we'll go back around again. Go ahead, Charlie. MEC N4LQ.
W4MEC. Yeah, thanks for picking it up there. That was my wife calling me about there's a car wreck and fire on exit 49 here in town, which is the I-26 exit into Hendersonville. and I-26 is closed from Fletcher to Hendersonville, westbound, and eastbound it is crazy backed up. So she was saying if I was going out, do not go that way, and if you know anybody driving this away, call them on the cell phone and tell them to find that detour. All the traffic. It's funny, I-26 is, the even numbers are supposed to be east-west interstates and odd north-south, but I-26 is kind of north-northwest and south-southeast, and with an even number. So even though if you're driving in the car and you can be going dead north on I-26, and it's westbound. So anyway, it's a royal mess out there, and when they route stuff through Hendersonville, it gets royally messier because of our screwed up traffic lights in this town, and it can turn into basically a parking lot. So on every street, every cross street, and every through street, and it turns into a nightmare. It's bad at night when they close the interstate while they're working on it and they route people through Hendersonville, but during the day, something like this, you might as well stay home. So anyway, I forgot to comment that, yes, $200 is still the going rate for a junk car. And actually it went up a little bit, but then it's come back down to $200. So that's about what they're worth. And let's see, what else did I write down? Anyway, that was about all I really had there. And I was looking at your emails there, Steve, what you're looking for. Oh, the manual. Well, I have one of those, but I don't want to get rid of it. That was one I learned from, too. That license manual. And I still have my Amico green question and answer manual. I still have that thing. So, and of course, I went through them both, and that was the days when those were only sample questions, if you remember. It was kind of the idea of the questions you were going to get, and they were fairly close, but they weren't like today where you got the entire question pool that you can download and read through it a few times and just walk in and take the test if you have a fairly good memory. So, because they give you the exact questions with the answers in the exact order, so you couldn't make it too much more foolproof. So, but they're trying. Anyway, let's go around again. I guess, Steve, unless you want to make another one, go ahead, but I'll send it down to George if you don't want to pick it up, Steve. K4GDN W4, let me see.
Yeah, I just wanted to borrow one for till the next luncheon and get some information out of it. So that if you don't want to loan it out, that's fine. But that's all I wanted. George, go ahead. GDN N4LQ.
L2 K4GDN. I have a 58, but I will not be at the lunch. I repeat, I will not be at the lunch. And but if I can tell you anything about it, I'd be happy to, or send you an email. This was the manual that I used to study for my novice exam. And the question was, is there any ideas about moving the July meeting a week later, since Thursday is the 4th of July? And the band is really crazy here. And there's USB, but and I'm having trouble copying Charlie and Larry, but Cliff is in there really fine. So band is kind of strange. Anyway, so I guess I'll pass it on to Buddy. WB4ARK in the group, K4GDN.
K4GDN, WB4ARK. Okay, George. Well, Steve, if you didn't get that, he says he's not going to be at the meeting. So, and the signal on George went down considerably this time around, so I'm not sure you were copying him. Sorry to hear about Wayne breaking his hip. That's not a good thing. I wonder if what they've done to repair it. Wayne and I keep in contact with each other through email from time to time, and I haven't heard anything from him lately, so maybe that's the reason. I need to send him an email and catch up with what's going on. Let's see what else. There was another issue. Let's see. Well, I didn't write it down. Well, anyhow, if we, it's good to hear you in, John. Your signal is about normal for today, and I guess that's about it. So we'll send it over to WB4MKM. This is WB4ARK.
WB4ARK. WB4NKM. Okay, buddy. Yeah, the band's changed in a little bit here. I'm getting some QSB deep fading on some of the signals. Charlie is full scale up here. Charlie at TX1. We've got a lot of path, a lot of sight paths, sounds like. And Steve, my antenna must be pointed right at Steve. Sounding good. Both of you are up there, but I'm getting some QSB on the other signals. Cliff sounding good and strong. And on that noise, I've had that before too, but I think what Steve missed, you unhooked one side of the antenna. It was thinking maybe it might cut it back. You might explain that a little bit, Cliff. Good morning to John. Good signal up here into Virginia this morning. W84EBK. Go ahead, Boone. WB4NKM.
Thank you, Larry. WB4NKM in the group. WA4EBK. Not much to add. Propagation changes are giving me a fit. One group will be weak. Seems like what? On down to up to Cliff, WB4NKL, WA4EBK.
WA4EBK, WB4NKL. Okay, Boone, you had some intermittent audio that go around. Losing it. I don't think it was on my end. Yeah, I guess I need to explain the antenna. I didn't unhook the antenna, Steve. I thought maybe it was static building up on the antenna, so I grounded the antenna where it comes through the wall over here, both sides, and that took it out. But as soon as I thought it discharged it if it was building up on the antenna itself. But as soon as I took the ground, the noise was back, still about 40 over. So some kind of odd stuff. But you couldn't even tell there was a signal from anybody. I think the first signal I did hear was Buddy was breaking through a little bit, and then it just dropped out all of a sudden. Everybody cleared up. And I'm copying everybody 100% now, and George, if you're copying me, you are about the best I've ever heard here today. That's the noise left. You're a great copy here today. I'm running the Valiant 2 today, running about 120 watts, so man, it is raining here now, so glad to see that. Go ahead, John. KZ4B, WB4NKL.
Okay, WB4NKL and the group KZ4B. Fine business, Cliff. The signals are pretty strong here today. You're doing well, so the band is kind of long. Some QS Baker, but copying everybody. The license manual, Steve, you might tell me what exactly you're looking for in it. I think I've got a 1958-ish manual, and also another book that was something about how to become a ham radio operator. And I'll look and see. I'll bring them if I've got them. I mean, I know I've got them if I can find them, because that's going way back. I got my novice and general in 1959, so that I use that manual to study. And my parents were not particularly pro ham radio, and you had to go to Winston-Salem. I lived in Lexington, and I got a lecture from my dad that we're only going to take you over there once, and if you flunk, tough. That's it. We're not taking you back. Nothing like a little pressure. And I got over there, and I saw all these people strolling around with a slide rule hanging off their belt. And I knew what a slide rule was for, and I knew that at my age of 13 or 14 that I couldn't handle a slide rule. And of course they were there for the commercial test. But that really rattled my cage. And back then, you know, you had to actually draw diagrams and answer questions. It was not multiple choice. Now, this was the general. The novice, I had a Elmer give me the test, so that wasn't too bad. But you talk about a high-pressure deal. And I could sing darn well, because I'd had lots of practice, but my weakness was receiving. And they had this ship's message. It was like USS Skate. This is the USS Skipjack, longitude 350, latitude 861. And that kind of stuff. It wasn't my name is Fred, my QTH is Charlotte. It was none of that. And so when they got through sending the tape, the guy was already saying, Fred Jones, you flunked. Tom Smith, you flunked. And so I wrote my name real sloppily up in the corner, because I didn't want them to say, John McAlpin, you flunked. And if you passed, he'd say, come on up here and sing for us. And when the guy got to my sheet, he looked at it right side up and upside down, got a big scowl on his face, and said, John McAlpin, come up here and sing for us. And, you know, I couldn't make beans out of the message, so I was shocked. And, of course, I went up and he handed me a newspaper and said, start sending. And I had no trouble from there on out. But it was not easy street. Shifting gears, on the rotor, I've got an MOV rotor arrestor, but like Steve said, I wasn't sure that was going to do me any good, so I bought an extra 8-pin connector from High Gain and shorted all the pins together and ran it to ground. So what I do is, if I'm not operating the rotator, I unplug it from the control box and plug it into the ground connector, and I'm covered, because I'm not going to be on the air intentionally, you know, during a storm. And that is 100% protection guaranteed. And the connectors aren't that expensive. However, since MFJ's gone leg up, if you want that connector, unless somebody else is selling them, you better hurry. I tell you what. And I think that's about it. Thanks for letting me in. Ever brief as usual. And since I'm really tail end Charlie, back to the real Charlie. W4MEC in the group, KZ4B, clear but listening if this is a 73 round.
Okay, John. Oh, it's just KZ4B in the group, W4MEC. My desk lamp here flicked off and came right back on again. I didn't know if it was the lamp or something. Anyway, let's see. We'll do a 73 round for those that are left, and let's see. Let me double check though. Any uber late check-ins that would like to join us for the 73 round? Come now. Nothing heard. W4MEC and the old friends. All right, fellas. Thanks for everybody that checked in today. And we'll run through a 73 round here right quick. And your description of taking the test there, John, was fairly accurate. I didn't have a slide rule. I just had a pencil. And but the one thing I remember I was told by everybody, it says, when you get the code test, be sure to copy everything. And that means when they start out, they send the V's, and the V's count. So it said, as soon as they start, sending code tests there, you just copy everything. After 4 hours, they started sending a series of V's, and it's kind of hard to miss those, and every little bit helps. So, so let's run around for those left for 73 here, and we'll figure out what to do next. And remember, lunch this week for those that can make it to Thursday. And I didn't realize about 4th of July falling on the first Thursday. We'll have to discuss that and see what we can do about that. So, N4LQ in the group, W4MEC.
Okay, you're kind of fading out there, Charlie. W4MEC, N4LQ. Well, thank you, and for those that have the manuals, the ARRL license manual, that's what I'm looking for. So I just need it for a short time to copy some questions and things. What I need is the typical questions that were asked back in those days for this presentation that I'm working on, and then of course I'll give it back. I have no reason to keep it. And that's why I used to have several of them here, and I threw them away. That was dumb, I guess, but I thought, well, they're out of date, why keep them? So yeah, John, if you have them and that how to become an amateur radio also, that would be good to have. That'd be fun to have here, and I'll use that in my presentation. What I'll do is just make copies of the pages and then give it back. And I've got your handbook here too, so don't forget that when you come. So 73s, I guess we'll see everybody Thursday, and hopefully at the luncheon. Over to you, George, if you still copy. K4GDN, N4LQ.
4LQ in the group, K4GDN. Yeah, I'm copying good, but Brandon's kind of strange today. Sorry I won't make the lunch on Thursday, but hopefully I'll make one later on. So with that, I'm going to say 73. Charlie, thanks for calling the nest, and hopefully I'll be in here on Thursday. So with that, I'll pass it on to Buddy. WB4ARK in the group, K4GDN.
K4GDN, WB4ARK. Okay, George. Still, your signal's pretty low right now. I've got the headphones on. Probably couldn't copy too well if I didn't have that on. So, regarding the MOVs and the rotor, Boone, if you're trying to protect the motor, the MOVs at the rotor are not necessarily going to work. If lightning strikes that antenna and gets into the motor part of your rotor, it's going to arc over to ground up there at the beam, at where the tower is, and that could kill your motor but if you're trying to protect the rotor control, then the MOVs at the control would certainly be beneficial. You could put a plug on the at the rotor controller, and if you're expecting a lightning storm, you could unplug it. I've got what's called a brick red plug. We use those on our excuse me, diesel locomotives, and they're like many different pin configurations. I think I'm using whatever it calls for the rotor. I think it's maybe a 12-pin plug, but with that said, using a different kind of configuration, I don't know that putting your MOVs at the tower would be the best way to go, because then that would not protect your rotor controller. So I guess with that we'll just leave it at that. But an MOV would be a good way to protect your circuit, but unplugging it would certainly be more beneficial than the MOVs at the controller. I've never had any. I've got a CDE antenna rotor, and CDR, excuse me, or actually it's a CDE, but it's got CDR on the meter face. Never had any problems with it, so I don't know if it's worth doing or not. If you have an electronic one, then certainly it would be probably beneficial to protect that unit. So with that, over to WB4MKM. This is WB4ARK, and thanks very much for doing the net, Charlie.
WB4ARK from WB4NKM. Okay, buddy, I agree with you. I think I remember having a M, and the control box was sitting on top of my TS520, and I had a lightning strike and took the rotor out and made a great big black spot on top of my radio. So it found ground to the radio back to the AC line that way. And the next modification I made was just put a plug on it. And when I see it coming a storm or not using the rotor, I unplug it. I used an 8-pin optical plug, and that was when I lived down in Tennessee. Up here I don't have a tower or rotor up, so but I can see where you're coming from by saying that the MOVs might not help situation. Good to be in here this morning. John, don't know if many of these new guys might know what a slide rule is, and that brought back thoughts you describing that test. I wonder what happened to the quick brown fox, and what did he jump over? Cliff, you might comment on that one, and everybody have a good day. I've enjoyed being in here this morning with the old friends. WA4EVK, WB4NKM.
Thank you, Larry. WB4NKM in the net, WA4EVK. Well, you know, it just goes to prove that sometimes you can overlook the obvious solution, trying to do the electronic one. I am going to add a grounding plug. I rarely miss unplugging everything here or grounding it one. I do not leave anything connected to the outside world, period. When I first moved in here, I had to send a brand new Yaesu back because the lightning surge that came in, that was the only thing it took out, and I don't know why. Couldn't figure that one out. So I think I'll do both. I'll put the NOVs in there since I've already got them in here, and I am going to ground that. The only lightning surge we've had here in the last 4 years was on a TV antenna, which the suppressor, I'd left it out doing something to it, and of course that's what the surge came in on. So even though this rotor and VHF antenna is not at very, I think it's at 25 feet, it seems like Murphy's Law. Anything you don't have some type of protection on is going to get it. So that's it. I'll keep it short, and I'll send it on over to Cliff, WB4NKL, to take it, WA4EVK.
That lightning's hard to deal with. I haven't, knock on wood here, I haven't had any problems in 4 or 5 years, I guess. I know the last time I still had a lot of stuff with Ethernet cables connected up, network in the house, and it took out about everything that was wired together, computers. So after that, I done away with all the Ethernet and went to Wi-Fi on everything. So that should help that situation. And I try to just unhook everything too. The antennas, this antenna right here, I've got alligator clips, and it's clipped on the side of the building, and I just go out, leave the antenna hanging when it's storming or getting close. Steve, I might have one of those Q&A or the manuals around here somewhere. I think I probably wore the one out that when I first got my license, and I had for the commercial license, we had a Q&A manual, and I wore it out too, I think, for the first and second class commercial. It got a lot of use back in the day. But that's what you had for it, was a question pool. And I don't know, well, just typical questions, I guess. It wasn't a copy of the FCC test or anything. 73s, and thanks for calling it, Charlie, and try to catch everybody there Thursday, I guess. KZ4B, he may be signed, but if not, go ahead, John. KZ4B is WB4N.
WB4NKL and the group KZ4B. Fine business there, Cliff. Steve, I've been looking. I hadn't found either one of those books yet, but if I find either one, I will bring it tomorrow. And and I do plan on swinging by Brian's house to pick up that stuff for that unit for Charlie. So I'm gonna have to get up earlier tomorrow morning. Thanks for calling the net, Charlie, and enjoyed it. Thanks for letting me in. I'm got started late today. Everybody have a great week. Enjoy the warm, sunny weather before it gets to be obscenely hot. KZ4B send it back to W4MEC. 7-3.
Okay, John, KZ4 Bravo, W4MEC. Well, I found my manual, John, and I'll bring it. Steve, since you said you just loaned it, I thought you wanted to buy it. I didn't want to lose it there. I know it's old, but I got a lot of old stuff here that I don't want to give away yet. So I found it. I looked from my Amico book, and yeah, I did the commercial license too out of Howard W. Sam's Q&A manuals, and I have those somewhere, but they're not readily available. I remember seeing them. I think I got them in a Foot Locker, and the Foot Locker's in the basement, and it's buried under about 30 years of my wife's teaching stuff, and it's invisible right now. I mean, it's like, I don't know, it's down there somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's in that Foot Locker. But anyway, let's see, any other, so I'll bring that, and I did see it up there, pulled it out of the shelf, and I was going to comment on something else, but I forgot what it was. Anyway, I'm glad that we went from just a handful to 3, 6, 8 of us, so that was pretty good for Tuesday. We'll see you on Thursday, believe it or not. The month changes, and I switched to Thursday, so you're going to have to put up with me at least one more day this week, so on the net, and then see me in the restaurant, so double whammy. Thanks again. Y'all have a good rest of the day, and it's about to start pouring rain here. 7-3 all. W4MEC shutting down the old Friends Net. Bye-bye.